What is up, guys? It is Simba here and welcome back to the channel for another AEC video on F1 24, and today it is time for the Hungarian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last race in China, I highly recommend you go check that one out before you see this one, because you're going to get spoiled of what just happened. We managed to finish second in that race, and on penalties we managed to snatch our first win of the season, our first in AEC and our first for our new team FRT. If you're looking forward to this one, be sure to hit the like button and get yourself subscribed to the channel for more daily league racing videos on F1 24. We're nearly at 400 subscribers. We are slowly getting there now. We're almost there, and it would be really helpful if we can get there as another milestone to the channel. So let's get into the video then. We see us on our first lap, finishing it off with a 13.7, which isn't great, but we're still P3 by the time we start our second lap. And you can see on the top right, there's only 16 of us. A few teams have pulled out, which is quite remarkable. I've never really seen that before. So an all-time low in AEC attendance as far as I've seen. But we're going to try and press on anyways. It's still an opportunity to gain points on TTM and FG, who are near us in the standings. I'm pretty sure I have them available after Portugal, which is round 10. But let's focus on this one, as we are currently on our second lap of the session. And we've only found around a quarter of a tenth going into Sector 2. Turn 4 is almost completely flat, by the way, on this game. You can carry so much speed through there. But through Turn 5, we get a decent turning point, and now we prepare for Turns 6 and 7. Down the gears to third gear, making sure we just bounce over the curbs through Turns 8 and 9 now into 5th gear, making sure we carry as much minimum speed as possible. And we've gained a little bit of time, now nearly a tenth up as we go through Turn 11, the fast right-hander. A tenth and a half up, a purple middle sector as well. So this is looking really good, and we could definitely get closer to the Shizou drivers. We're dropped down to P5 now as we come through the final sector, through Turn 13, and then opening up for Turn 14, close to the barrier on the inside, but we lose the rear end, and that's cost us a lot of time, and it's only a 13.6, and it's P5.
What'd you do?
Low 6, I fucked up the last corner.
Yeah, it's that in your first sector's all that's letting you down. The rest of it's
you're
fine.
not using. You're using like 20% less battery than average in the first sector, Simba.
Alright then.
So unfortunately, we absolutely bottled the end of the lap, and this third lap isn't much better. Apparently, you can hear a lot of discussion in the background there. You heard Barofex, one of my engineers, saying that we're not using enough battery in the first sector, and it's costing us 2 tenths.
But you used ERS like just as you got up to the line and then to the end of the straight. Try using it as soon as you're like
You can
pointing
start
straight
straight the exit.
and then use it, because then like it gets you through the lower gears quicker, if that makes sense. So you have more momentum.
And you can hear more feedback from, this time, FRT Chelsea as well, as we are slipping down the order along with our teammate as well. So we're going to use battery as soon as we get straight on the last corner, and you can see we're getting time on the delta. That was one of the points of feedback that I got in this qualifying session as we start our final lap. Going into turn 1, nice and tight, decent exit, and we've gained nearly 700s, and it's actually down to half a tenth by the time we come to turn 2, but this time we stay nice and tight throughout the apex, and that gives us a boost on the delta as we come through turn 3 and preparing for turn 4, which is flat out on this game. Just a small lift and a tenth and a half up as we come through turn 5, as we sweep the car from right to left to open up for turn 5. Through 6 and 7, however, we go a bit too deep through the first part, and we just cut a bit too much of the second part, and that is qualifying over. You were P9 at the time, and it's only P10, and it's really frustrating because I really do think a 0.4 was on the cards, and obviously we dropped 2 tenths in the middle sector. So maybe a 0.3 was on the cards. So a top 5 was definitely on the cards. We got quali completely wrong, and Harvey didn't fare much better. He struggled to get a lap in throughout the session, and he's P12. So we've got some work to do in the race.
Cheers.
So here we go then.
Let's go.
Time for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Me and Harvey are both going to start on the hards. Try and go longer and see if we can make the overcut work, as it is hard to overtake around here. And the pace between us is very strong, so we're going to see if we can make the alternate strategy work for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And the lights are out. and we are underway for AEC's Hungarian Grand Prix. You can see Kieran in front of us has been held up by Knight off the start, and we get ahead. And now we're going to try and focus into turn 1.
What the flying fuck happened to you?
I was literally upside down.
I've got a penalty.
10 sec.
Okay.
Pit half.
I have.
What the fuck happened?
I was literally.
What?
When I tell you I was, you know, when
And just like that, FRT Harvey, our teammate, who can't catch a break at the moment, will not get past turn 1. He's been sent upside down,
What's knocked
and
on?
he's out of the race. So we're instantly down to 1
65.
car. And to make matters worse, we've got a
played on
10-second
55
penalty
behind you,
for ignoring yellow flags, apparently.
so you're doing well.
That's fantastic. So that's really ruined the race, as there's another 2 cars of ARS Nox and XPG Flame who also have penalties. But this is really painful. This is exactly what we didn't want as a team. We're already down the order on a shortened grid, and our lives have been made a lot harder now because there's only going to be one of us scoring points. Harvey just can't catch a break, and that's exactly why the title is what it is, because I have to mention the penalty. You guys can tell me about it in the comments below what you think about it, but we have to get on with it. As we pass Nox going into the first corner, it was crucial to pass him, as we're going to try our best to get back to the front of the queue and see what the pace is like up there. So we move up into P8, and we are ahead of the other cars with a 10-second penalty slapped on our heads. So we're going to just have to deal with it and get on with it. And up ahead is, I think, Josh in the RB. So we're going to try and make sure we get past him as well as soon as possible. We move on to lap 7 now, and we're doing pretty decently at the moment. We just need to make sure we clear him as soon as possible, as we don't get the best run out of turn 2, but he's not going to make it difficult, and by the time we get there, we're through.
Nice move, Simba.
There's another one. Just tell me that the rest of the cars ahead.
Detol 55.
So there we go, we've managed to pass Nox, we've passed Josh as well, and the main priority now is just making sure we save enough battery and try and catch up to the cars in front. And you heard Harvey say there that Detol is on 55% battery. He's also on the hard tyres, and you can see he's really close to Oxku in the Mercedes. The medium tyre seems to be going off already, and you'll see that a little bit later when we switch on to the mediums. But you can see now Detol really desperate to have a go as he tries up the inside into turn 12, but we're in DRS.
Really nice job getting in.
Nicely done, save a little bit of battery now. The hards are starting to be faster than the mediums.
And there you go, there's the
Lovely
first
timing,
bit of proper communication
I know
that you'll
Detol's getting a
hear
little
throughout
bit
this race.
desperate with us
Bell
as
and Harvey
well,
are
so
spotting
I
me at the
might
moment.
get
Harvey,
dropped again.
kudos to him, he could have easily just left and forget about this entire race, as he did get absolutely wiped out on the first lap, but he's actually supporting us through the race. So kudos to him, and Bell obviously doing a great job engineering and giving me key intel throughout this race about the cars around us, because that's going to be really important. And you can see here Detol wasting no time at all. He gets up the inside of Oxku, and he's up into P5 now, and it's crucial that we try and follow through, because at this point the hards are a much better tyre, and our race pace was feeling really good, as normally when you're not in DRS in AEC you kind of get left behind, but we've really got some pace here, and we're going to try and use it as we're going to try and go round the outside of the Mercedes going into the penultimate corner, but nothing quite doing there, and we're going to have to just set up for turn 1. You can see it's a bit squirmy on the exit there of the final corner as we start lap 10. We've got the DRS, we're using the battery, and we're not really gaining too much down the main straight, so that probably tells us that our wings are a bit too high, as we can't, and that as a result it means we can't exactly drain the battery down every straight. As we try and have a look at turn 2, there was a small gap, but we just couldn't quite sneak our nose into it, and the Mercedes stays ahead. We're going to try and push him into a mistake at turn 4, but nothing quite doing there. And you can hear by the comms I'm trying a new headset as well, so you guys can let me know about that as well if it sounds any good.
Yeah, not quite
and
that time.
we really need to pass Oscar. We're putting him under a lot of pressure, and there is the mistake that we were looking for through the chicane. We're going to try and go round the outside
Oh,
We do turn in a little bit, and that isn't
Shit.
ideal.
I
But
think I turned it on.
BRT didn't
Left
hand in a
room,
report
at
about
least
it,
in the
so
on-field
we can carry on our business.
on
But
DRS.
unfortunately, whilst we did that, we lost DRS as well, and now I'm not eager to sit behind Knox at any point for the rest of this race, so we're going to try and defend on the inside into turn 1. We need to make sure we get a good exit, otherwise we'll be prone to another attack going into turn 2, but it looks like we've done enough to fend him off and stay ahead as we move on to lap 11 now, and surely this is when we're going to see
Well defended.
some action in the pit lane, as the mediums look like they've gone off already, and that gives me a very important point to make.
I really feel like we have to go long on this stint, otherwise we're going to get absolutely eaten alive by the hard runners, man.
Yeah.
Can you spare 10 seconds under the safety car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go long.
Yep. I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
So that's the plan we've got now.
Everyone's
Our
bunching
plan
up
is
as
to
well.
go as long as we can
Everyone's, like,
on the
not that
hards,
hard.
because you can see Tech Brutal, the new tier 2 champion in WR by the way, has pitted, and that tells me that these mediums are not going to go very far. So it's only a matter of time before everyone else is pitting in response to the Mercedes drivers. So that tells me that the mediums are not going to be a great race tyre. And both Shizou drivers, surprisingly, were both on the mediums. And it's literally because they wanted to get them out of the way, as the hards are so much better. You can see Rapis is in the pits. You can see Venom is in the pits. We move up into the podium places simply because we haven't pitted. And Detto is all over the back of Shizou, Ogwin, who were definitely expecting to get a 1-2, considering they've seemed to be quite a way ahead of the rest in this race, and it will definitely be a theme throughout the season if we can't catch up. So Ogwin dives into the pits on lap 13, who'll have a 2-lap tyre advantage on Tech Brutal, and Detto will take the lead of the
Now we
race, and
give it a proper
ourselves
push.
in P2 now, and Knox is just behind us, but I'm not too worried about him because he does have another 3-second penalty.
Detto 20% and Burning 10.
And meanwhile, Harvey is giving me updates on ERS as well. We have a bit more than Detto at this point in time, but we are just trying to sit in DRS, and his pace is actually really good in these next few laps. We skip to the end of lap 18, and that's the realization I'm about to make here.
Detto's got some good pace.
Yeah,
Knox is in already.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'll let you know when he... I've got a leader on, so I know how much it's going to cost us in the pits with the penalty.
So Detto's pace is pretty
Cheers,
good, and
Harv.
we're just sitting behind him in the DRS. And Knox is pitted on lap 18, so that's going to be a really long stint on the mediums. And we're just going to be waiting for Harvey to update us on how much time the Aston Martin's going to lose in the pits.
You'll lose about 30 seconds.
Now that is a deflating update, because normally we would lose 20 seconds whilst pitting, but because of this 10-second penalty, that is now going
Yeah, I
to
think that's
come back
the
and
right
bite
choice.
us by lap 23.
Because
We're going to have to
you
wait
won't be
an
able to-
extra 10 seconds. It's been a very good stint. The pace was really,
True.
really good.
Yep.
And you saw that Tech Brutal was like 3 seconds behind us
Good stint.
as we made our pit stop. So the
Unlucky
pace
with this weight.
was a lot more handy for him
Yeah, it's just
on
a
his fresher
shitty
tyres,
pain
but this
into-
weight is
Yeah.
going to be very painful.
Goes
You
like
can
an
see
age.
the Williams in the pit lane on the minimap has gone through, and we're just stuck here.
The thing is, I could just see Detto coming out of the pits. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's just not ideal, man.
And it really isn't, because he's out in
Those two to
P6.
try the Aston Martin.
We're out in P10, and we've got some work to do. At least we've managed
It's fine.
to get that penalty off our heads now, but you can see how much that's
They're
ruined our
both
race,
6
because
seconds, so
we were
you're both
literally in
thinking
touching
already.
distance with Dettel, and we could have maybe given ourselves a chance at a top 5 despite
Guys, got
qualifying in
15
10th place.
laps left in the
But
period,
we have to
quite
get on with it,
different
and we've got 11 laps to have some fun on some very fresh medium tyres. And our first man on the list is Kieran, formerly one of our engineers, but now he's someone who's in our way, and he's really, really holding us up through Sector 2. It's a very unconventional part of the racetrack, because it's nigh on impossible to make a move in Sector 2. And unfortunately, it's going to be the same story in Sector 3. You can see we're trying to look for a move on the outside into the penultimate corner, but there's not much point trying to push too hard at this point, because we do have the pace advantage. We'll get past him. There's no need to be impatient about things. And we're just going to open the DRS, use the battery, and we're just going to stroll right past
Annoying where you caught
one
him,
of
but well
our
done to get
former
caught up too
teammates.
much.
And by the time we get through turn 1 and on the exit, we seal the move. Yeah, we say bye-bye in the background, and we're up into P9. He's also got a time penalty for track limits, so that's not an issue for us. As Nox is up next, and he...
Oh, what a guy. Thank you. Up to P8 we go, lads.
Nice.
decides it's not worth fighting us and lets us through.
Keep
And you
pushing
can hear me
forwards.
being very happy about it.
Seventh
But
is
now we
doable.
can push forward and try and
Time
catch
to the end.
Oksu. My team were telling me that P7 was still on the cards despite this penalty. But you can see on lap 27 we go a bit wide. We are trying to go for the fastest lap. I think we got a warning earlier in the lap as well. We didn't really get any warnings in this race compared to the last time we raced here in AEC, where we were making a few errors, but we're going to finish the lap here.
Oscar not getting DRS, that's a level playing field in that regard. No more warnings, but you know that.
Yep. Right, there'll be no more attempts for me to go for the fastest lap.
So you saw me getting my second warning, but now this is where the pace was really good. This was really enjoyable. Just pushing flat out as hard as we can, and we're reducing that gap to the Mercedes up in front.
And you're almost a second a lot quicker than Oscar.
And you can hear Harvey say that we're almost a second quicker than Oksu on that last lap. So we're really turning up the wick here with the pace. We're down to 4 seconds by the time we get to the end of lap 30.
Gained 1.4 last lap.
And the lap times in the top right are pretty consistent. We did a 17.1 last lap. We did a 17.3 this time around. And we're just going to keep pushing.
5 tenths.
But you can see now we've cut to lap 34. And you can hear Bell just say 5/10s. And that's how much we've gained. So as we've managed to wick through the laps here,
How much
the
battery have we got?
advantage is basically dropping off because these mediums are dropping off. They were
27.
feeling really good at the start of the stint, but now they're starting to drop off, and now we're not really gaining as much as we were before. And I am starting to doubt if we're actually going to make it and try and make a passing move on Oxcu. So it's a bit frustrating. Also, Josh was reeling us in a little bit.
Yeah, tyres don't feel as good as they did before.
Yeah.
As he was on the hards, and the hards are clearly better at this point in the race. Ogween has won the race. He managed to beat Tech to the victory, and you can see how close we managed to get to Oxcu. As one more lap, I think we definitely would have given ourselves a chance to get P7, but unfortunately for us, it is going to be P8.
Unlucky
Nice
enough.
try.
So close, man.
Yeah.
One more lap, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should have been at least fighting for that 4th.
Yeah, Detto and well, I think Rapid really took it on the last lap, but
Yeah, he did, but should have been up there.
100%.
yeah.
If you see my stream, I've got it. He's actually upside down.
Wait, clip your stream, Simba.
Oh, fucking hell.
That's gotta go in the video.
Oh, it definitely is, lad. That is actually ridiculous, man. You couldn't be any unluckier.
So, race done here in the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's not quite the win we got last time out. It is only P8, and that penalty really ruined everything. The first lap could not have been more disastrous if we even tried. Harvey, at least he saw the funny side about it, and that clip is definitely in the video now. But he can't catch a break at the moment. Third race in a row where something's just gone wrong for him. And the pace is there for him as well, so hopefully he can bounce back in the next one. And we can bounce back as a team. We've managed to limit the damage to TTM, who've outscored us because of Dettel's P5 finish. But pace-wise, it was really good. But that kind of just sums up this up and down season we've been having since Bahrain, where the pace is there, but the results, one way or another, it just feels like they're not fully materializing. Obviously, we won on penalties last time out in China. This time, we got a really silly penalty, and it basically ruined any chance of a top 5. But guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, and as always, we'll see all of you in the next one.